The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Turn 3 Racing Network, as tonight we're here for the digital Armchair Motorsports 183, presented by Stanley Jr. Thank you very much for joining me here tonight with OP Racing Grand National Series at Talladega. My name is KR. In the booth with me is none other than Peter deBorja. Peter, how you doing tonight?
It's like the Billy Madison episode where we're all dumber for having heard that sentence.
Yes.
Nah, I'm doing pretty good, man. I can't crash my car. I can't get upset at the race. So here we are to watch a bunch of guys here in the penultimate race of the regular season. So stakes are really high for a lot of these guys. People are going to be desperate for wins. People are going to be looking out for points. It's going to be a fun one.
Well, qualifying is underway, and this 5-minute qualifying session right now sees the 14 of Vicente Guerrero in the top spot at a 54.16, and that is a heck of a lap time to lay down. And now Mark Mann up in the second.
Yeah, it's only 12:53 local time at the track right now, so yeah, it feels like because it's daylight like this, you'd want to wait a little bit longer, but that's actually not the case. The track still seems to get hotter around 1:30, 2 o'clock-ish. So getting out there early and laying down a lap might be really important, but all it takes is a favorable gust of wind, and you might have somebody late who hasn't qualified yet steal the pole away from Vicente.
David Booth goes across the start-finish line, and Booth up in the 21st spot. Well, that being said, 26 drivers have taken a qualifying time. We are going to step away for the national anthem. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the drivers are taking to the grid. Hopefully, the internet has settled down, but we'll see if it has or has not. Can't always control everything. So, anyways, let's take it away to the grid and find out who is starting where here in the Digital Armchair Motorsports 183. On the front row, the 14 of Vicente Guerrero. To his outside, the 04 of Mark Mann. Row number 2 will be the 12 of Zach Fritsch and the 33 of Jeff Crosby. Row 3 will be the 071 of Eric Laurie and the 53 of Dave Hunt. Row number 4 will be the 19 of Zach Workman and the 88 of Gabe Butler. Row number 5 will be the 21 of Daniel Holloway and the 7 of Josh Milam. Row number 6 will be none other than the 51 of Travis Elliott, and to his outside, the 62 of Les Levy. Row 7, the 44 of Anthony English and the 25 of Kevin Freese. On the inside of row number 8, the 027 of Steve Karosik, and to his outside, the 9 of Nate Warren. Row number 9 will see the 23 of Sebastian Marin and the 6 of Cody Nagels. Row 10, Sean Stevens and Andy Brigante. Row number 11, Richard Sanchez and Joey Delavecchia. Row number 12, Richard Kuhn in the 47 and the 15 of Jeff Crosby Sr. Row number, what did I say, 18? David Booth and Jimmy Reynolds. No, that's not 18, that's 13. 14 is Stanley Jr. and David Overstreet. Row 15, Harold Rothery and Andrew Schroeder. Row 16, Peter deBorja, who is in the booth with me and somehow on the track at the same time. Don't know how he managed that. Zachary Lima is on the outside. Ty Dowman, David Livingston, Dan Harrington, and Rob Connors. And our final starting spot here tonight goes to Lynn McNeese and Adam Kilday. So, Peter, drivers making their way around this Talladega Super Speedway. Just 2 races remain in the regular season. All right. Sounds good. Good talk, Peter. Good talk.
How about
right,
now?
so
there we go. I'm hoping that the race itself is off to a smoother start than what we're having right now. Jeez.
Right? Oh my
Between,
goodness.
well, yeah, and the admins having the session not fire at the beginning, your internet issues, now me having tripping over my words, you tripping over the starting grid, and yeah, my push to talk button not working there. Yeah, we're off to an awesome start for Turn 3 Racing Network. So hopefully when the vid goes up, it automatically skips ahead to the start right here. We're going to do a great job from here on out, right?
I hope so. It's not looking too good. Oh, it could be one of those nights where we should have just stayed home.
I am home.
Dang it. All right, well, here we go. The field
Pretty cool that you
into...
have a dedicated booth, though. I mean, like, that you get to travel for it. That's pretty awesome that Turn 3 provides that for you. The rest of us are just sitting here in our basements.
If only, if only. Wow. All right, here we go. Into turn number 1, the 14 of Vicente Guerrero. We are going to try and do our best to get through everything here. If things continue to not improve, we will have to shut this down and take some drastic measures. Not sure that anything can be fixed, but we'll do what we can.
Big third lane already forming there, 62, 25. It's at 77 and 53 up there as well. Just or no, it's not the 53, it's the 6. New paint scheme for Cody Nagels tonight in the 027 up there. Okay, I thought it was going to be more checkered flag guys, but it looks like Les is leading. Kevin and a couple Dale Cuppers there. See if that third lane gets moving here. You're not really too worried about fuel in this race like you are in Mondays at Talladega. You try to hit on Mondays around lap 7, 8, or 9. 35 lap stages here mean that you really run this thing dry and go up for a lot longer. So you guys are just having some fun. It's Wednesday. A lot of these guys are locked in already on points, and hey, we're here to race. Let's go 3 wide and have some fun.
We are out having fun right now, but these opening laps always seem to be a bit of a calm moment for these drivers. But going 3 wide this early got to make you worry just a little bit.
That was a good move by Les. I liked how he did that. He moved in front of Mark and kind of just decided, all right, do I want to stay mid or do I want to go bottom? Instead of just slamming it all the way to the bottom there. You got to be real careful with that, though, because the 04 might not know that the 62 is thinking about going all the way to the bottom and might give him a bump right at the same time that Les starts turning a little further left. So glad it worked out there, but I did like the kind of the thought process there where he's like, I'm not sure if I want to go. Okay, it looks like there's enough cars in the bottom for me to drop down. And you can see the 25 just slammed the door, went right to the bottom, did the same thing, and that top lane is going to run out of cars here eventually, right?
You'd think so, but they keep adding to it.
Yeah. Marin in the 23 just jumped up there as well. Mark Mann jumped in the bottom, lets Coruscant go to the middle, but now there's only 2 cars up top. Surprised that there's not more cars up there. We've now demonstrated that you can clear from the top rather easily. We've done it with 3 different cars already. If I were that 7 or that 510 or the 27 or even the 052, I'd be looking to get up there soon. You know the 21 wants to mix it up. He's locked in already. He's not trying to stay 4th in line in the middle, right?
I mean, you can't lock in on lap 4, but doesn't mean you can't try to lead every lap.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying if you are locked in already, you got nothing to lose. You're having fun, right? What's fun about just sitting in traffic?
Yeah, I've never done really well when I was in traffic. Claustrophobia being all that.
Gotcha.
All right. Not sure if this is going to be a thing here tonight, but it is still going all over the place, Peter. So our first caution, we may have to take drastic measures. Not
Do a
really
reboot
sure.
of some kind?
Yeah,
All right.
I don't know. I don't know what's wrong.
Can you tell the wife and kids to stop streaming Netflix for about an hour and see if that fixes it?
I mean, I pay way too much money for it to be this. But yeah.
Maybe they're all just trying to watch the broadcast.
No. No, they don't like me that much. They like you a lot better, but I don't think they even like you that much either.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. All right, I called it. The 21 jumped up there, and now the 052 is coming as well. Let's see if the 33 goes up. I know he's not super excited to be pushing the 027 here. He'll be looking for a way back to the point. But looks like the 6 and the 23 have gotten to his corner, and they're getting all the way to the front here. It's all going to depend on how well they can push versus the middle versus the bottom. Usually when the track is a little bit cooler, it's when the top lane really seems to thrive. Because it's not as hot up there, you don't need nearly as much grip, and it works out a little bit better. Track temp today, 108 degrees, so it's pretty toasty. I think maybe the top lane, we just need a little bit more organized before. There ain't anyone better at pushing than Seabass and Cody, and they're locked up top, and they can't seem to make too much headway here. Let's see if they can get Cody clear. Not quite. So, I look for that to be actually a bit of a trend here. I don't think the top lane is going to be quite the fast pass to the front that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, sometimes that high side just a little too far around the track when he's a little greased up.
Yeah.
All right, so we continue to be 3 wide. And go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, I think if the 027 has a chance to get down at the same time that the 6 happens to be alongside, we know that they work together. There's a good chance that the 027 just moves down to let the 6 clear. And that would get both of those cars leading the front and the middle. I could see them making a move like that. Otherwise, I think the 027 is just going to stay put there in the middle and keep the 33 doing all the pushing. But until it's favorable to the team, I think once that situation arises, then you can see the 027 drop in front of the 04.
All right, so for right now, we are coming around to complete lap 7 here in the opening stage of this race. So let's take a quick moment and look at our race info here tonight. As I mentioned earlier, just 2 races remain in the regular season. 2 chances to lock yourself in. That means it is crunch time. You've got to let it hang out. You got to leave it all on the track, and all the other cliches that you can come up with. Peter, you got one you want to add?
No, I'll let you run with those.
No cliches?
Nope.
Boring. All right, and one stage at halfway, of course, that is the completion of lap 35. And one fast repair is available here for the drivers tonight. So that's 6 of Cody Nagels being cheered on by Kevin Nagels and saying that paint scheme is a throwback to a different time in NASCAR.
Oh, for sure. One of the legendary ones for sure. Used to seeing a blue and yellow Wrangler car in the 87 leagues on iRacing a good bit. It's a rather popular scheme to see that there. It's pretty cool to see someone actually put it on an Xfinity car, a current looking one here. But interesting to see that there's like 19 cars that are like, yeah, let's go here. And then everybody else at the back is just chilling, single file. And you can even see now, everyone's already trying to jump down to the bottom. It's only lap 9, stage is lap 35. These guys can typically get about 17, 18, 19 laps, depending where you're leading or saving fuel and that sort of thing. So I don't think they're in a hurry to get down to the bottom. But I guess it does matter a little bit, right? Because that tends to be a little bit past halfway in the stage. And, if everything goes green the whole way, you're looking at lap 37 before you really could hit pit road. And, maybe these guys should be thinking about saving fuel and not just pushing and pushing and pushing from the lead.
Well, one driver who has dropped back that was up front, that is the 12 of Zach Fritsch. He has fallen behind quite a bit. In fact, lost 23 spots from where he qualified. And he's looking to go all the way to the tail end of this field. So, Peter,
that's just embarrassing. Last week's winner, Zach Fritsch, right?
Good grief, Zach. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You fool.
He's thinking about big picture here. He's just trying to rack up the wins. I know he hasn't been to victory lane on Mondays in quite a while, and I know he had a really big slump there for a bit. And getting the first win on Wednesday and the second win on Wednesday a couple weeks later seemed to really lift his spirits. He's been running near the front at the end a lot of these Monday races too, so I know he's just trying to go out there and do what he can to make sure he can finish first.
All right, well, we are still 3 wide with the 6 and the 23 up on the top shelf. 17 of Jimmy Reynolds looks like he's maybe going to try and get there. Oh, contact down the front stretch. The 33 out of shape. And here we go. Yellow flag coming out.
A lot of cars on the low side there got taken out. Pretty messy.
So first caution of the night coming out. And man, that was at the front. That's never a good thing when it forms up at the front. That's usually
it's one of those things. Looks like on my end, I don't know where you're at zoomed in. I can't see your screen right now, KR, but looked like the 33 was trying to peek down and side draft a little bit and went down just a little at the exact same moment the 53 was closing up to give him a bump, and it just got him a little bit off center. 53 is a very reputable pusher in this league, so I know that wasn't a miscalculation there. It was really probably just a move by Jeff. It was at the unlucky timing there where he went down at the exact same time the 53 called him at a bad spot.
Well, let's take another look at this one a little bit closer. On board with the 7 of Stanley Jr. in the 41, and really, honestly, a lot of cars making contact with each other, but it was kind of like a flash in the pan. Everything went everywhere, but only a few cars got collected.
Yeah, a lot of damage though. You look around, all the cars there, they all got a good punch to the gut. It might not be completely knocked out of this thing, but they all gonna be sitting on pit road for a while. It's gonna be interesting to see how the field shuffles up as a result of that once we go through this cycle of pit stops. But yeah, I expect quite a bit of damage. I don't think anyone's taken a fast repair yet, unless someone really, really clocked the wall. But it's going to be everyone slowed their cars down after by running into each other as opposed to running into the wall there. So a lot of energy to dissipate, a lot of damage on a lot of these cars.
So the entire field comes down pit road, and we get our first pit stops of the night. And Peter, coming here on lap 12 on the pit lane, I think we're just on the outside of making it.
Yeah, it's right on the edge. What are we at right now? Is this lap 13? Nah, they ain't making it. It's going to need a lot of help from that. They're going to need multiple cautions just to be able to shut the engine off and save it. They can probably make it to lap like 32, but in our league here, if we go under green, you finish the stage on 35. The pace car is going to be behind the start-finish line. There's a pretty high probability that you actually don't enter pit road until the end of lap 37, and that's you're never saving that much fuel. So it's going to be interesting to see, though, because you're going to have guys that think, all right, well, maybe the cautions break our way. Maybe we'll just stay out and see if we get 2 more cautions and shut our engines off and save about 6 laps. And yeah, now all of a sudden it sounds doable. Or do you just pit like 2 laps after we go green? Like, we're going to go green here on like lap 15 or 16, and they're immediately going to shoot down pit road on like lap 19. That's going to be pretty crazy. It might break the field up, and it's going to have, 2 distinct groups of people pushing each other, trying to make sure that their group is faster than the other group. And could make for a very exciting end of the stage here to have the numbers so close like that.
What do you think the chances are someone does try?
I think try is a relative term. Like, try is in like they actually think they're going to make it under green. We're not going to see it. They're not going to be shutting their motor off and clutching and entering the turns. They'll make it, but they'll go slower than the guys who pitted by the time they actually do save that much fuel. Try is in they're just going to run it dry and hope the cautions break right. I think a lot of guys do that, especially guys that are locked in already. That's a pretty staple strategy from Checkered Flag, Buck Wild. Those kind of guys typically run it dry all the time because they know that gets them away from a lot of the other cars. It puts them on pit road with a lot less cars, and they still finish on the lead lap at the end of the stage, and they're not super concerned about stage points. So I expect some people to do it, but I don't think it's going to be we're actually trying to make it sort of thing, but they're just going to run it out.
All right, well, I want to take this moment to give a shout out to everyone in our YouTube chat. Miss Mara chiming in, of course, cheering for the 04 of Mark Mann. We had Stanley Jr. stop by to say hello. Josiah Millen, admin here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Thank you, Josiah, for coming by. Kevin Nagels, Jimmy Crow, and Liberty Fires chiming in. And I think you have a connection with Liberty Fires.
Oh yeah, it's a pal of mine that I go way back with there for sure. So always love having him support everything that we do in OP, and always gives me some encouragement there, and pops into my streams occasionally and shoots me some messages of encouragement. So appreciate you, man. This many people watching means that your video quality is probably not that bad then, huh? Or does that mean it actually is bad, and that's why they're able to watch? They don't have to see how clearly ugly this race has been.
Honestly, those are just people that typed in the YouTube chat. It doesn't
that could
mean
have
they're
all been
still
during
here.
qualifying. Oh, okay, yeah. They could have already been gone. Gotcha.
They probably could have just said hello and then left right away.
All right, well, when the bots get here, then we can ask them what the quality looks like. How's that?
Right? There we go.
Yeah. I was going to make a trading paints card for bigfollows.com, but never got around to it. I thought that would be a really obscure reference for the people who spam the Twitch channels to try and buy followers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fake website. I'm sure it's just there to steal your credit card info and whatnot, but we have plenty of shadier sites that get joke paint schemes started on the trading paints or on some of the cars here in OP. Looking at you, 62, but yeah, so.
All right, well, the field formed up, stacked up, looking all nice and pretty as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. And we get ready to go green flag racing once again. But Peter, why don't you take us to this green flag?
Well, I'm hoping that I'm actually live here. I see the 027 and the 6 lined up on the bottom, conspicuously lined up in front of the 21. That's a teammate to Logan from Monday. Maybe he's not going to help them clear as much as he's going to let the guys up top try and clear the 04. Be interesting to see some games, some revenge. I want to see what cars want to jump to the bottom ASAP here. And we get the green flag, and the 06, the 027 jumping away quickly here. Will the 052 jump down or the 510 jump down as well? Big gap on the bottom in front of the 21.
So the 027 and the 6 on the inside lane have that huge gap to the 21. Nobody dropping down to fill it just yet. So Is the outside lane the preferred line right now?
I don't know. I'm looking to see if anyone's going to jump down here because they plan on pitting in 3 laps. That would be the interesting part to me. The 04 is just, you know, we saw that how much leading the 027 was doing in the middle lane there, and the 6 was doing in the middle lane, and he's like, nah, I'm good. I'll just be on the bottom. Let's him have a little more flexibility in what his race unfolds to be. Some new faces up here that weren't caught up in that wreck. See the 9, the 82, the 15. These are guys who weren't near the front before, but are near the front now. And a few of them are really worried about stage points. So I'm going to see how their race unfolds here as we get down to the wire and to see who makes the playoff cutoff here. The 9, the 15, I know are guys really worried about it. 071 as well. Keep an eye on those guys to try and take some gambles here to be near the front of lap 35.
All right, trying to go 3 wide, 4 cars jumping up to that 3rd lane. Andy Brigante leading the charge for the moment. Ooh, Zachary Lima got a little bit crossed up there. A couple damaged race cars towards the back. And do want to point out that right now, all 37 cars that started this race are still out there and on the lead lap. So all the damage that got repaired has kept everybody on the lead lap so far.
Yep, and there we go. Lima moves up to the 3rd lane, so you know he's not trying to pit anytime soon. But Brigante decides to bail. He's backing out, trying to go towards the back, it looks like here. He's not super focused on advancing his position. It's going to be interesting to see if cars start dropping down right now, because this might be the first lap of the pit when it's really, a little bit of contact there between the 15 and the 00. I thought that was going to get real bad in the middle of the pack. As we ride along with Kevin Freese here down the backstretch, he had that wreck just right in front of him there waiting to happen. Luckily, those guys gathered it up. You can see the 071, a couple cars ahead of him there, too. He's making some moves forward, going to get himself ready for this pit stop, or is he going to go out and try and lead a lap? I know he's concerned about his bonus points here as we run down towards the end of the regular season.
Last time around, Kevin Freese.
Oh, we are 4 wide as well. This is 77. No, he's 4 wide. That's the important part. That they know they're 4 wide. The 15's a little loose.
Man, you got to hold your breath right there.
Great heads-up move by the 00 there, too. He backed out a little bit to let his teammate the 77 down. It did let down the 1 car as well with the 51 up top. I think it was just one of those things where somebody was moving up at the same time somebody was moving down, and you didn't really know that now all of a sudden there were 4 cars, but they figured it out. So good on them. I hope that was a lot of communication there.
On board with Harold Rothery. He just set the fastest lap of the race at a 49.52. And it looks like no one taking pit road just yet.
Yeah, but there's a lot of cars lined up there who are thinking about it. It's going to be interesting to see if they actually make this call or they're all going to run it dry. If they all run it dry, they're all going to be basically pitting at the same time. Somebody eventually is going to say, forget this. Maybe it's not going to happen on the traditional lap that they used to, but this might be the first lap they can. So if you go 18 laps on a tank and you pit on 19 here, you're definitely safe. Just looking to see if some cars are making some moves to the bottom after we're climbing up here. 62 and the 46, definitely not. They're going to the 3rd lane. The 19 and the 23, different story. They jump middle there rather than riding the line to the top. Looks like 19 might be lifting a little bit here, trying to find a gap to the bottom. Are people going to shoot this here? Coming up before. Yes, there are some cars entering pit road this time by.
Kevin Freese made the 47 a bit out of shape. Sean Stevens, though, able to hold on to it.
So we got Buckwild Racing and Dale Cup Games represented here on pit road. So 2 from each of those teams. Now, is that the catalyst that sends 10 or 15 cars down this time? Let's see. I know if that's the case, I'd rather be at the front of this field than the back of this field. The guys in the 3rd lane certainly aren't going this time. You see Travis Elliott, Zach Lime up there. Overstreet and Les Levy now shooting the middle here with Rob Connors as well. Connors is clear in the bottom. If he wants it, is he going to take it? No, he's going to keep up there with Daniel Holloway. He had a little bit of a spot there in front of Jeffrey Crosby Sr. Look for those guys, I think, to react, though. I think we're going to see a lot of cars on the bottom go down pit road this time, and yeah, it's busy.
Yeah, here they come down pit road, and do they fan out big time when they try to hit pit lane? And Peter, if you're a driver at the back of this pack, how much do you try and gamble or throw away stage points here and take track position at the beginning of stage 2 run this dry, and when everyone comes down at the stage break, you get the least amount of fuel, you get on and off pit road possibly the fastest, and you start stage 2 up front.
I don't know if you really can get up front that way. It's tough when you have 39 cars. You have like 22 cars, you can do something a little bit creative like that. But with this many, it's a little bit tougher. Additionally, Mondays, they're 25-lap stages. They make your life a little easier. You come down and pit on lap 23 or something, the caution comes out on 25, and you just don't pit. And then when you pit on 33, you need like 1 extra gallon compared to your peers. It's not as bad. But here we need 33 gallons, or sorry, 35 laps. Oh, and Workman gets a little bit loose there, but gathers it back up right in front of Dan Harrington. When you need 35 laps, you need all of these laps on the stage to make it work. Like, you really, really need every single ounce of fuel here because your fuel tank really does slice it almost in half. So it's a little bit tougher to run a gamble here. If you're running this dry, like you see the 46, the 62, the 53, you're punting on stage points because not because you want stage or track position on lap 36. It's because you want to be near the front at the end. You want to make sure you save a car. Maybe you were caught up in that wreck already and use the fast repair, or maybe you just don't like the way things are looking right now. You're like, I'm going to run this dry. I'm going to finish the lead lap. I'll start stage 2 at the very back of the pack, and then I'll drive to the front later. It's just a more cautious approach. And I say that as these guys definitely don't run it dry. They pit this time by. You see the 18, the 53, and the rest of checkered flag in there with Andy Brigante as well entering pit road.
Speeding penalty to the 1 of Zachary Lima. He is down and away, and he is probably going to end up being a lap down. 1 car is gone behind the wall. That is Joey Della Not sure what has happened to him, but an early exit for the 052.
It's almost his bedtime. He's usually a 10 p.m. sharp kind of guy getting up for work early in the morning. We love it when he's able to join us, but typically if it's almost 10 o'clock, you might see him hit the hay, but might have been a speeding penalty or a bad pit entry or something, and it was just not worth the battle for him. But man, Joe, if you're watching, we miss having you out here, but I know work's been tough for you, and yeah, you know, real life is way more important than pretend race cars, but yeah, we miss having you, bud.
Rob Connors peels off from 4th place on the pit road. Top 3 cars have not made a pit stop yet for this final splash of fuel to make it to the end of the stage. Fast lap, Josh Milam, 49.32. Josh Milam in this group of drivers who has made their pit stop. And these guys will inherit the lead here in a few laps as the round goes to 51.
Oh, no. Looks like we're still green right now. 1 car off the track, off the racing surface. Is he going to keep going, or is he going to pit with this move here? Looks like he's going to jump down pit road, maybe take a fast repair. He's locked in on points with a race win earlier in the season, so he's clinched the playoff berth. I don't think he's too worried about that, but I'm sure he is hot under the collar there based on how that went down.
Yeah, with him taking the green flag, that is him meeting the minimum race requirement. And so he is officially locked in. So let's go ahead and take a quick moment and look at our stats for this coming into this race, our point standings. And so Travis Elliott with that start gets locked in. Cody Nagels needs 1 more start. That's coming up next week. That's his last opportunity. Then he will be locked in. And Les Levy, starting here tonight, locks himself in as well. And then it's coming down to the wire for John Stevens and Crosby Sr. Those guys very close on points. Eric Murray not too far away. So things heating up at the cutoff line.
Right, it's right on the edge there. You saw how hectic that last lap was last week with the 071 running out of fuel. You know, shortly after Crosby Sr. got back on track to jump from 29th to 25th, 13 laps down, and all those little points matter. Look how close this battle is right here. So that's a big deal, and I tell you what, their names aren't on the screen. You might not be paying attention to them, but the 82, the 17, the 77, the 84, those drivers can come in tonight, walk out here, the 510 as well, come in here to win this race, and they've got enough starts. They'd be locked in immediately, and it would chop one of those slots off the bottom of those 16 right there. The fight that you see between Stevens, Laurie, Crosby Sr., etc., those guys there, that would just mean like 1 less chair in this musical chairs battle if a spoiler comes from outside the top 16 to win the race tonight.
Travis Elliott going a lap down in the 51. I do want to point out,
going one lap down is pretty good for him.
yeah, Rob Connors did get a speeding penalty when he came down pit road. The 2 drivers with a speeding penalty early on, and I like to say if you're going to mess up, do it early because that gives you plenty of time to recover.
Yeah, and a couple other things here worth pointing out is that the leaders, by not pitting yet, have put Travis Elliott in a weird spot here, and it's actually forced Richard Kuhn into a different situation too, because Jimmy Reynolds, David Livingston, Ty Dallman, those guys still are running out there about 25 seconds ahead of the lead group you guys see on the screen right now. Attached to them is the 47 of Richard Kuhn. Now, he is currently 1 lap down based on some pit stop miscue there. We saw him enter a little bit squirrely and got it under control, but lost the group, and as a result has been passed by these 3 leaders. He's in a great spot right now. Any caution that comes out, he's the lucky dog. He's good on fuel, so when the 17, 50, and the 34 decide to pit, he's back on the lead lap. What could be a problem, however, for him is if those guys pit really, really soon, and then he has to run these next 7 laps by himself with the leaders catching up to him. And then eventually they might be 2 or 3 wide. He goes to the apron to avoid causing a conflict. And Travis Elliott happens to just be attached to that pack and can sneak by and get the lucky dog for the stage. So he's got to be smart here. He hopefully can stay in the draft as long as he can. And when they do happen to go down pit road eventually, that he is hitting all his marks and making his lap times as fast as humanly possible, because he does not want that pack to catch him.
Yeah, and the more he's in with this group, the I won't say he's pulling away from the pack that has hit pit road, but it is adding speed to him. He's able to draft with them and
exactly.
not lose as much time.
Not lose as much time. It's about 24 and a half seconds now from him back to P4, Sean Stevens. And that's, only a couple of car lengths ahead of Travis Elliott. Or Travis Elliott's about 6th car in line in the middle of this big pack. So it's not like Richard's going to be able to get up the speed and then block the 51. If they're racing for that lucky dog, the 51's going to be able to blow right past the 47. So he really needs to stay in front of this pack. He really needs the fuel in that 17 to last as long as humanly possible. Every lap the 17's able to go, that's more and more helpful for the 47 to keep him out here on the lead lap.
Jimmy Reynolds last on pit road on lap 13 right now. He is working lap 29. So his fuel tank starting to run dry, but he might be one of those guys that tries to stretch it till it's on empty, comes down pit road and runs 2 laps, and then it's the end of the stage.
Yeah, and you can do that. And like I said, on the Monday races, the shorter stages, you could definitely just fill it up, stay on the lead lap, and then not even pit at the stage break and get your track position that way. But we're all going to be trying to target a pit stop probably right around lap 53, 54-ish. And when you do that, you still have 17 laps left in the race, right? So and here they come down pit road. But the reason that that's so important is if you happen to pit here with 2 laps to go in the stage, you're not going to be able to make it to that magic number. So it's just too close to the way the numbers work out here and the little bit of extra length of Talladega. We don't change our race lengths here on Wednesday. There's 70 laps no matter where we're at. So, and 17 overshot a stall a little bit there, but I think he's going to be okay. 47's just saving as much fuel as he can. And when this next car pits here, he's going to be cycled back onto the lead lap, 21 seconds ahead of the leaders with about 5 laps left in the stage. So should be in a good spot. Be right on the edge though, because it's about 4 seconds a lap you lose as the leader, or if you don't have any help. So he's hanging in here as best he can.
Now the 34 peels off for pit road. He is the last one to do so. And this will cycle the lead to this group, currently being led by the 25 of Kevin Freese. Cody Nagel's in the 6, and the 027 of Steve Karosik make up our 3 line leaders here tonight.
Yeah, Niegels just got around Sean Stevens there up top and cleared him, jumped down in front of the middle lane. And we'll see if Niegels is able to control both these lanes here. I don't know how close he's going to be on fuel if he's doing all this leading and pushing the whole time from the top side, but should be okay. I think they both stayed out an extra lap compared to the guys who pitted early. That bottom though, that hot track temp really keeping the bottom around there. They are not funneling to the back as fast as you'd expect, and a couple of really good pushers there with the 23 pushing the 25.
Travis Elliott has fallen behind the one of Zachary Lima. Zachary losing that lap because of a speeding penalty on pit road. Steve Karosik in trouble.
And it gets to the one. That's a lucky dog spot that's gone as a result.
We stayed green, and now the yellow flag comes out.
That's going to hand the lucky dog to the 51 more than likely, and the 47 is going to stay on the lead lap as well. Big time implications there for that lead lap bunch.
And I want to say the 25 was out in front when the yellow flag came out. That will give him the stage win.
Yeah, I mean that's looks like that's what how they're gonna line up here. Looked like the 23 was ahead at the start finish line, but that's not what we go by. We go by when the caution came out. So how they get to stack up behind the pace car here is the pace car just drives through everybody, disregarding the laws of physics.
Ford Mustang in a crowd can't be helped.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so the 25 does line up right behind the pace car. So I do believe that will make him our stage winner.
We mentioned before the 27, the 9. Those guys are worried about stage points. The 44 as well. He's in a little bit of a safer spot now, but he's still not completely out of the woods yet and completely immune from any kind of point scenarios there. Those guys all picking up some serious stage points here to help them out and really cement their playoff chances and put them a bit further ahead. The 071 finished just a few spots out. The 15 finished several spots out. So they stay on the lead lap here, but stage points to Sean Stevens, Nate Warren, Anthony English. That'll help their cause a little bit more moving forward.
All right, so on the pit road comes the field. And unfortunately, it looks like Travis Elliott going to hit pit road this time as well.
Yeah, I wonder if he got an off track there trying to avoid the collision, or a 0X maybe getting into somebody there at the last second, but he did enter pit road here. He did have the option to drive around if he was the lucky dog candidate. So I'm guessing it must have gone to somebody else. Did we see somebody else getting ready to drive around?
All right,
no, I
so
see the 51. The 51's not on pit road. He's behind the pace car in almost turn 2.
But that's what makes me wonder what happened, because he...
Oh, they didn't wave him around because they didn't send him yet. That is true.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and let's see if we can't fire up our stage winner. He's gonna be around here somewhere. He can't be too far away.
But do you need me to do this for you?
No, maybe.
He's right there.
Possibly.
Okay, you found him, teammate.
Well,
Good, you did it.
Peter, you can talk to him.
Okay, I don't want to ask you to talk and use the mouse at the same time, KR. All right. Kevin Freeze, Peter deBorja up in the booth. You got a copy, brother?
Hey, what's up?
Look at
they
you,
let
man.
you in the booth?
I know, it's the penalty box. They actually forced me in here. A stage win, another new stage winner on Wednesdays this season. Just a whole lot of people with one stage win. You add your name to that illustrious group, including boss man dude Conrad. How'd you do it, buddy?
Just didn't blow up. Oh my god, this track temp is pretty high. You push for a little while, not like half a lap, and you're hot. So it was all about doing what you had to do to get out front, stay out front.
How is the track temp adjusted your line choosing, essentially? Like normally when it's a little bit cooler here, we're up top or we're in the middle here. It looks like a lot of the experienced drivers are just very content to stay on the bottom.
Yeah, I like it on the bottom no matter what, even on a cool track, because I think it's more fun and you can stall out that middle lane pretty easy. But this, yeah, because there's a lot more space when there's no chance of having somebody to your outside to cool down. So shove them off in right before the corner, dip that nose down, maybe cool off to 262 and get back at it. It's a lot of fun.
For sure. How close were you guys on fuel there coming to the line?
would be lying if I told you, because I didn't pay attention to
Oh,
that.
nice. That's okay. I figured it was going to get you pretty comfortable because I thought you could short pit a little bit more aggressively there, but nobody wanted to because they had so much fuel. They were thinking maybe a caution or two they'd still be able to make it. So
yeah, this one I was telling Sebastian and company could be interesting because I think this could be easily saved into a one-stop race, but that would be a really, really boring way to race. So we don't want to do that.
Yep, it didn't even top off, so you're definitely rolling the dice here. I know this is a commentator's no-no, but I want to ask you about your teammate right now. Eric Lurie is basically right there in the playoff bubble. Just missed out on stage points there. He's running with you, the 88, the 510, the 23 tonight. What are we thinking about how we can get him a few extra points to possibly further his playoff positioning?
We're hopefully going to get all grouped up on a pit stop and be able to take care of each other, gain all that track position. He's back in 18th right now, so he's in a pretty good spot if there's one of these great checkups on the bottom on a restart. So
But you can always count on one of those.
Oh yeah, and then coming to pit stops, you know that the whole line's gonna hit the brakes. So
For sure. All right, we won't keep you too long there.
Each other.
We won't keep you too long here. Anyone you want to give shout outs to?
Yeah, shout out to you guys up in the booth. I can't wait to watch this one after the fact. And shout out to Sebastian for not blowing up while he was pushing me. And to all these drivers out here, we're having a lot of fun tonight.
Awesome job, man. Thanks so much. Good luck the rest of the race.
Yep, you guys enjoy.
Did you handle moving him back to team 8? You did it. Look at you.
No,
Oh.
now I got it. Now I got
All
it.
right, good job.
I got it that time.
Before we go green, I do want to give a shout out, a heavy heart for OP fans out there. Know Ken McCullough, how many races he's done with us in the past. He's been hit or miss a little bit lately. Been busy with a lot of other things. Had some health issues lately. Word is it was a heart attack, and he's going to be out for a while. We're trying to keep him and his family in our thoughts, and you know, just an absolute great guy who's supported OP for so many seasons. And we miss you, Ken. We're hoping for the best, and I hope the next time we talk about you here, we got nothing but good news to share, man.
Yeah, and there is a charity race going down this weekend, Saturday night. More information is provided down below in the broadcast description. So, yeah, make sure if you guys are interested, check that out. Peter, I'm a little disappointed in you. Liberty Fires wanted you to ask some questions of Kevin Freese, and you ignored him.
No, I don't have YouTube open. I was trying to save your internet a little bit more and not have too many viewers in there. I didn't want to change the viewer count up by one. Well, and to have to animate that on your screen and slow your computer down any further. I know what they're thinking. They're all like, wow, Peter deBorja really doesn't care what the people in YouTube chat have to say. And that might be true, but I will never admit it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Favorite flavored water? Oh, man. I don't really enjoy it. I try to kid myself every few years by getting a bunch of flavored seltzers and stuff like that, but I always end up back to, like, Costco green tea or Coke Zero or Diet Mountain Dew, Diet Root Beer, stuff like that. So it's flavored, it's carbonated, but I know it's not good for me, so tough it out. Blue cone, good or bad? I mean, it's a part of the racetrack that we have to respect. I don't think it's part of the problem. I think if we use it as a choose cone and goof around with that, that'll be fun, but I don't think it does anything wrong. It's just sitting there. It's just an inanimate object. It's like, is that like saying like the 3-point line is good or bad? Or actually, it's even worse than that. It's like saying is the baseline or sideline on a basketball court good or bad? Forward, awesome or bad? I think it's objectively bad. I don't know if that's really a question. That was more of a, or that was more like a quiz question, not an opinion question, right?
It's an opinion. Do you like the blue cone or do you not?
No, that's about the forward, question 3.
Oh,
I don't think that, I think that's more like
sorry.
a quiz question. That's not, there's no opinion on that, right? You're either right or you're wrong.
I mean, you either like Ford or you don't. And if you don't,
You either don't
probably
like
making
Ford
good
or...
decisions.
Oh. Gotcha.
Kind of like if you don't like the blue cone, you're making good decisions as well.
All right, well, here's what I'll say about Ford. And it's not really anything particular to real life. I got no real, skin in that game. I haven't driven a car. Actually, I now drive a car that was built in the USA. It's the first time I've ever had one since I was 16. No, I mean, from the truck perspective, on Saturdays, I hate the Ford. It doesn't really line up with the Chevy bumper that well. It seems like it's really easy to turn people. It's just, that's what iRacing has decided to do with the Ford. Now, I don't know if that's what Henry Ford intended when he started this company, but that seems to be what's happening right now. It's a pretty sharp clear there by the 6 there in front of the 510. As far as the B cars go, they all really pretty much drive the same. I don't think that there's one or the other that really has any kind of advantage. There's no real pushing or any kind of weird things you got to worry about. No weird ways the nose line up or anything like that. It seems to all kind of work itself out. I haven't really dabbled with the next gen enough to know too many differences between the makes, but I've never owned a Ford. My current vehicle is a Chrysler. Can you guess what model Chrysler I have, KR?
LeBaron?
No, I do not have a Chrysler LeBaron. That'd be way too cool for me.
Oh, well, I tried.
It's a 2017, so it's not new, but it's 100,000 less miles than my Subaru Impreza was. I drive a Chrysler Pacifica.
Ooh.
With 2 car seats in the middle, seats that fold down into the floor. Nice minivan dad life. Can fit a pinball machine in there if I need to go buy something off Craigslist real quick. But I am now a minivan dad, so it is what it is. It's utility. It sits low to the ground, so it's easy to get things in and out. Plenty of room for the kids. Decent fuel mileage. And it looks like all the other cars in my work parking lot, since I'm a middle school teacher, so a lot of women driving minivans there too. So I look like I belong there.
I don't know if you belong anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, that 9 car didn't belong in the lead pack. He said he'd seen enough. He's going to the back here. Luckily at Talladega, he can hold that speed there on the apron and merge back in, hopefully without losing the pack. That is Nate Warren, someone who was up near the front in this exact scenario with these cars on Monday. Might lose the draft here, though. He got up there a little bit late. Hopefully he's able to stay attached. He's close on points. Losing the draft here would be a death sentence here for his point situation. It's looking quite iffy down there. And so 33 might be going back to help him, too.
Travis Elliott in the 51 is first car 1 lap down. The 1 of Zachary Lima is back on the lead lap. So I'm thinking somehow he got the free pass.
Yeah, I think he did somehow. Or he took a wave there or something. So he's back on the lead lap. Travis Elliott's 3 laps down now. So he's not even the first car 1 lap down. He's way down there, and I don't even think he's on the track at the moment. So it looks like no matter what happens to Nate Warren here, even if he falls off, as long as he doesn't end up with any incidents, when the caution inevitably falls, he'll be back on the lead lap somehow, either by the lucky dog or just by catching up here.
Rob Connors peels off for pit road.
That
he
actually might
had
be bad
not
news for Nate
pitted
Warren.
at the stage break, so he is the first one to hit pit lane, and everyone else still has plenty of fuel in their tanks. But Rob Connors had not pitted until about 20 laps ago, so his tank had run dry.
Yeah, that's actually the bad news for Nate Warren, right? Because then if Rob gets lapped and attaches to the pack, then Nate gets lapped and Rob drives by him. That could be a dangerous situation here. And I'm only focused on this 9 car because, like we said, he's right near that playoff bubble. We saw those cars a second ago, the 071, the 27, the 44, the 15. They're all worried about that. And they know that the 9 cars in 33rd, they know, hey, a top 10 for us just puts us right in front of that guy. So that can change everything here. Those points are so close there near the bubble. And then that's another big feather in the cap for the guys outside looking in who need a win. Like the 17 who led a ton of laps earlier tonight, the 82 who's been around there, the 510 who's running in the top 10 right now. These are all guys who can steal a win tonight and steal a playoff spot. So 82 and 510, those guys are teammates running 6th and 8th right now. We'll see what they're able to materialize as the 071 starts to move his way to the front too. We're 3 wide, 4 rows deep.
4 cars in the outside lane. Jeff Crosby Sr. in the 15, leading that 3rd lane. Zach Fritsch on his back bumper. Fritsch has gone from the front to the back, and now he's back to the front. He can't make up his mind. He doesn't even know what he is going to do from lap to lap.
I look at these guys are trying this now because they weren't the cars that were at the front earlier, and they're kind of learning right now firsthand. And you throw the 15, the 12, and the 85 all into that mix. They weren't really leaders earlier doing a lot of this pushing. They're learning right now that the outside lane really does need 4 or more cars to even have a chance. It's just too hot. You're going to have to do a lot of pinching, and it's just going to be really tough when you have strong, experienced drivers in the bottom. The 6 and the 04 in the bottom, they're so hooked up together. It's going to be really hard for that third lane to clear. You see that 12 car peeking out further and further outside, trying to get more air to the radiator just to cool them off so we can do a good push down a straightaway. As the 15 was clear for an instant there, he did not jump down. Staying up top here, committed to the 12, committed to the 85. They can get a 4th car up here. If that 19 decides to go up, you know, that might give them some real chances of making some noise. I know they're worried a little bit about that 41. He seems to be a little bit indecisive there, moving a little bit up and down with the control and temps as well. But you can see the 15 and the 12, they try to pinch a little bit. Then when the 85 tries to follow, the 41 starts drifting up a little bit, and it gets a little bit dicey. But that's the only way that you can really keep up when you only have 3 cars outside there, is to side draft a little bit. So they really need a 4th car, or they're going to have to aggressively pinch even more just to get even with the leaders.
Rob Connors goes a lap down as he had dropped down to the apron as the field closed in on him. But Connors has managed to blend in, and you mentioned that could be an issue for Nate Warren.
Yeah, he's falling further and further back. He needs a caution here. That's really going to be his best bet. He's 16 seconds behind the leader now, so he's losing about 3 to 4 seconds a lap. That still buys him plenty of time. Like, that still buys him at least 10 laps here before we're really thinking about him falling a lap down. And 10 laps from now, by then we're thinking pit stops. So, you know, those guys will have already pitted by then. Nate could make the decision if he wants to run it dry and gamble a little bit and kind of leapfrog the pack for a little bit and then take his pit stop a little bit later. He can make that choice for himself when that time comes. But right now, he's just got to be hitting his marks. He can't give up a 10th here or there just because he's out of it and thinking to himself, oh, I'm just going to drive around, not really pay attention. Every little bit here might buy him an extra lap on the lead lap.
All right, right now we continue to be 3 wide at the front. Mark Mann, our race leader, Steve Karosik in the middle lane. He is taking over the top spot at the line right there, and that's how fast that changes. When you're running that close, Peter, and you're kind of in the middle lane, let's say you're the 82 of Dan Harrington, when do you make that move to the top side? Well, shoot. Looks like no one's going to make that move to the top side in front of the 15, so we're going to stay right there. Oh, trouble, yeah. The 41, the 15.
Oh, my goodness, the 41 getting a little bit loose, gets into the 1 car. Yellow Caution. Is out. They're going to stabilize it here. Hopefully not too many cars torn up too badly there. We already have a couple of our leaders that used fast repairs earlier. I was just trying to jump in there, KR. If I was the 82, I wasn't going to jump up because I knew the pit stops were going to be coming soon. And I hadn't seen the top lane really do a whole lot yet. But look at the 41 here. Just a little bit too high. I don't know if he got a little bit of help there. Got it back down on the apron out of the way. And looks like the cars behind him did a good job of saving it. Hopefully minimal damage to the leaders there as a result.
See if we can't get a couple different looks at this. Couple hip checks involved, but other than that, doesn't seem too violent of a crash.
He'd been jumping out of line a little bit to cool the engine off there, but I don't think that's what happened that time. I think that was maybe either net code or something with the 1, or is this a little bit before or after that happened? I'm not quite sure. But you can see he's in the middle, and the 15 is coming down hard. At the same time, he's a little bit higher, and yeah, looks like the 15 just got a little bit loose, came down. 41 bounced a couple of places, but did a really good job to keep the car pointed in the right direction. A lot of guys there are really, really close to some heavy contact and ended up with nothing. So good heads-up driving by everybody. Good save. You know, you never want to see a big caution like that right before a pit cycle, except if you're Nate Warren. But yeah,
he needed that.
For sure. It looks like a little bit of net code in front of it, too. You see the 82 peeked out a little bit. It looked really, really close to the 15, and it looked like it got the 15 a little bit swirly. I don't know if that's him reacting and pulling the wheel a little bit left to kind of overcorrect, or if that was just a netcode thing all around that got the car a little bit out of place. But it looks like some contact there between the 82 and 15. Not quite there, just spinning the 15 around as he tries to save it. All things considered, when something like that happens at the front of the pack, you usually have about a dozen fast repairs getting used and a couple people towing. And instead, you got all these guys rolling down pit road, refueling, trying to figure out if they're going to short pit this last stop and what they're going to be ended up doing here, because a lot of good cars still left in this race. Points really matter here, as we said before, as we enter lap 49. Or finish lap 49 for a lot of these guys here. They're not able to make it without a caution, but I have a feeling they're still going to run it dry because we might see that caution anyway. If you're really, really, really aggressive, maybe you pit here on 53 and just make sure you got enough fuel for green, white checkers on 53 or 54 and wait for the race to come to you. But I would not be surprised at all that everyone just tries to stretch it. Even though they don't have enough fuel to make it, they're probably not going to be able to go 20 laps green. And then if we get a caution on lap 68, 69, 70, if it goes to green, white checkers, they're not going to make it for sure. So we'll see who decides to short pit and who decides to stretch it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially because, well, if you look down the score sheet, half the field took 4 tires. Now, it may not mean a whole lot here at Talladega, but if that's the case, why did half the field take 4 tires?
Well, if you take 4 tires here, I think it's, the track is hot. That's a big deal. That helps you a lot on pit exit. That's the best part for having good tires, is when you can pit and your tires aren't that old, you can definitely handle pit exit a bit better than others, especially right as soon as you get to that start finish line. There's a little bit of a bump there. It's easy to spin it out when the track temps above 105. Second thing, if you're taking 4 tires here, it's probably because you were like, well, I'm pitting again anyway to top off, so let's take 4 tires now and then just splash and go next time by. So you might see a lot of those guys who took 4 tires just dip back in again to get another little splash here, and those might be the guys who are planning on going for it.
Yeah, we're just a little bit on the outside of the fuel window being open by a couple of laps to make it to the end of this thing. So that being said, Peter, when you are out there and you're at this kind of cutoff line, as we see most of the field come down.
Yep, there it is. That's how many people are going to try. Those guys are planning on running it dry. Whether it makes it or not, we'll see. But those guys are planning on running it until they can't run it anymore. They're banking on a caution that will give them enough fuel to go the rest of the way. Jeff Crosby Sr. has said, you know what? I'm going to save fuel here in this lap. I'm going to shut the engine off. I'm going to have maybe 0.2, 0.3 gallons less than you guys when we restart. The caution is not going to make a difference. I'm going to need it anyway. You're going to need it anyway. I'd rather be out front for this mess. So I like the call for him. I like his position in points where he's at. I think this is the right play, especially because he's on his first car still. Eric Laurie is in a difficult position based on these other guys in that he has used his fast repair already. So that's one to keep an eye on, or the points guys. A couple other guys who've used fast repairs, the 027 of Steve Korosek, the 510 of Richard Sanchez who used a fast repair, the 50 of David Livingston, the 18 of Harold Rotherty, the 7 of Josh Milam, the 33 of Jeff Crosby, 14 of Vicente Guerrero, and the 1 of Zach Lima have all used their fast repair. Everybody else on their first car. So I named a lot of drivers who topped off. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think those guys who used fast repairs, they want to make sure that they can react to the accident there. They want to go slow and take it easy. They don't want to be rushing things and pushing and going all crazy up there. But this is going to be an interesting race, KR. How many races have you called where there's only one car on the outside line for a restart?
OP has had that happen a couple of times.
Yeah,
we're going to be honest.
You know what usually happens on races like this? You get
someone gets a penalty because they jumped out of line too soon.
That might happen, but what will typically happen here in a situation like this, at least in a situation where so many guys are worried about points? You might not have it tonight with so many guys locked in already in the field, or guys who don't have enough starts who are just here to try to win. Who cares? You're going to have a lot of guys who don't want to lead. These might be some of the slowest green flag laps you see. We've been cranking out pretty steady 50 flats, maybe a 49 here or there on a good lap for somebody, some 51s once in a while. I wouldn't be shocked if these laps end up being in the 52s or maybe even the 53s. If we just start slowing down a bit, and guys are trying to save fuel, and no one's actually pushing anybody. You see him bunched up here too.
Adam Kilday, his best lap, a 49.34. Josh Milam, best lap, 49.32. So we'll see if anyone lays down a better lap than that, and that'll let you know that they are getting after it. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on the lap times as the green flag is back out. We are back underway. And the 15 of Jeff Crosby Sr. out to that early lead. Dave Hunt in the 53 on his back bumper, and here come the cars that have pitted, and everything can go out the window when that yellow flag comes out with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the 15 wants to be up there completely all by himself. He's got the 53 who's absolutely pushing him. The 27's pushing the 46. It's going to see if he gets him clear. I don't think either of these guys are going to be going full throttle, and you can see the 53 has slipped off of the 15 there. It might be to save temps, but I think it's to save fuel. I think these guys realize if you're in the front 2 rows, you're either leading or you're pushing. You're not going to be as good as the guys on fuel 3 rows back. I'll tell you, a car is not worried about fuel is that 9 car. He's up on the 3rd lane all by himself, trying to make up for lost time. He's already caught the leaders up here, creeping into the top 10. In the 50 car, he wants to get to the front. I don't know what his fuel situation is, but I imagine it's not as good as the guys he just drove around. But here we're going towards the front. Some guys, we got the 46 clear in front of the 15 now. Let's the 53 save him some fuel. What are our lap times looking like, KR?
We're still getting up to speed last time around at a 56.65 for our race leaders. But yeah, once they come around this time, I expect to see that down around the 50-second mark, because getting up to speed is one thing, and then saving fuel is a whole nother issue.
That 9 car just blasted through here. Decided he's pushing the 50 clear and got himself clear at the same time. I think the lap times of the leaders are going to be really high, but everyone 3rd back, I bet's a little bit slow.
Yeah, everyone's right around the 50-second mark.
Look at that. Okay, look at that move. But Nate Warren, though, just 49.981 that time around. Adam Kilday 49.336. There's the 2 guys there that were really pushing the hardest, and Livingston up there now leading with a 50.2 that time around. So those guys there, we got some 51s and 52s this last lap, though. Dave Hunt there at the 52.069. I think you might see these lap times start to fall a little bit once the fuel numbers start to settle, and we realize that caution might not be coming. You're going to want to be a guy who's got, half a gallon more than your neighbors. So will guys start shutting it off? Will guys start just leaving it in 4th and running half throttle all the way around? There are a handful of drivers who are notoriously good at that in our league, the 44 especially. I know his name doesn't come up at the top of a lot of categories when we say things around here. We don't say he's the best qualifier. We know who those guys are. He hasn't had the most fancy wins and trophies or championships, but if it comes down to saving fuel, that 44, definitely one of the best drivers in our league at that. And he's running great race here. He's got himself in a good spot and can save some fuel here towards the end. And probably shutting the motor off, and we'll have probably more fuel here at the end than anybody else if we stay green. And just make sure that you keep an eye on that guy, because he's close on points. He knows he's got to finish this race to score as many as possible. He had a really scary last lap last week where he got taken out right at the start-finish line at the beginning of the white flag, and then he salvaged the top 12 out of the deal. So I know he's in a pretty good points place here, but he might be able to lock himself in tonight with a win.
Well, I'll tell you, things are getting very aggressive at the front of the field. They are mixing it up. The 9 and the 50 have passed each other here in the last few laps a couple of times, and it is making it very difficult for the 2nd lane to watch that go down.
That was a really close move by the 50. I loved it. He caught the 85 at just the right time, got a huge bit of momentum. They might double clear here. 15 is laying off the 46 a whole lot there in the bottom. That tells me the 15 is really close on fuel. We know he's one of the guys that didn't top off last time, and he led the first couple of laps here in the bottom. I think he's worried about fuel probably more than anybody right now, and he's got to just draft as best he can. And he's made his bed here. He doesn't want to go to the back. He's running 4th in the bottom. That's why you stayed out. Like, you try to get that track position. You can't sacrifice it now, but he's got to be concerned about fuel with some of the moves we've seen lately from him.
All right, so they settle down for just the moment and get too wide, but that 2nd lane is very short. Only about 6 cars up in that 2nd lane, so maybe some of these guys starting to think about a green flag pit stop and trying to get down to the inside line.
I think that bet's made. I think at this point here, if you were thinking about a green flag pit stop, your goal should have been to burn up as much fuel as possible and get to the front. Like, if there's somebody who's going to do a green flag pit stop, it's these guys up here at the front that were leading. And here they go. Here goes the 53 and the 46. They got to mix things up. 46 knows he's not going to have enough starts. 53 knows he needs a win. Let's roll the dice. Let's see if this works out in our favor. Maybe we get a green-white checkered. Maybe it runs green and all these guys have to pit. They probably need a couple more cars than just them to make the most of the situation. And it looks like they've got the 13 and the 77 along there with them, as well as the 82. So they're going to have plenty of cars there to get back up to speed with. I like that play from them. Those guys were at the front and they were pushing, and that's what kept the lap times pretty low. They were doing their best to try and force everyone to drive a little bit quicker. If you're trying to pit anyway, that's your job. Make sure these guys behind you can't lift. Push and push and push and push and push, and then pit on that 57 or 58. Force everybody else's hand as we have a couple more cars dipping down here. I think these cars that are still out intend on staying out. Like, they'll pit if they have to, if a green-white checkered forces them to. But right now, they're saving fuel, doing everything they can to make this last. And you can see it in the lap times. Leaders last time around ran mid to high 51s. That's almost 2 seconds slower than we saw right after the restart. And that's because the group of guys at the front now are trying to make it all the way to the end of the race, while the guys before were trying to lead us a bunch of laps and force the pack a little bit quicker before the pit stops happened.
Side by side down the backstretch, the 50 and the 85. Both these drivers last on pit road on lap 50. And so they are running their strategy how they see fit. And they're gonna have to hit pit road before too long, and you want to time it right, and you don't want to pit by yourself.
None of these guys aren't pitting unless they have to. I don't think they're not going now. You didn't go on 58 or 59 at this point. Like, you've already committed to staying out here, because otherwise you're gonna need a bunch of cars to go with you. But these cars here, they're going slower than the guys who've already pitted. All right. Last time around, those guys here, those guys are coming out of their out lap right now. They're getting up to speed. But those guys are pushing. They know they've got full fuel. They don't have to save a single thing. They've got 5 or 6 of them linked up together. They're flying. So what does that mean? It means if you decide to pit 2 or 3 laps from now, and you're like, you know what? On second thought, I should have pitted. Well, guess what? These laps of running slower than those guys back there means you're going to exit the pit, and you're not even going to be attached to them. The low 51s from Dave Hunt, David Overstreet, Dan Harrington, David Booth, Rob Connors, Andy Brigante, all on the 51-2s that time around. Leaders this time around, they were 51-7s last time around, half a second slower. This time around, 51-849 from Harold Rotherty, 51-898 from Les Levy. So they're losing more than half a second, almost 7/10 of a second per lap to those guys back there. So that means if you change your mind and pit right now, you're going to be 7/10 of a second behind the group that had already pitted. So you can't do it now. Your bet is made. You're up here at this group. You're trying to make it to the finish.
Yeah, that is where you are at, and you are definitely not wanting to see a green-white checkered attempt come out.
It would be closer, I think. It depends when the green-white checker comes out. If the caution comes out on like 66, and that means the green flag happens on lap 70 and 71 is the checkered flag, I don't think that's as bad. You don't net gain any extra laps of green. You actually lose a couple laps because the laps that are caution. That actually works. A caution on lap like 69 is devastating because you've run all of those laps so hard. Now you have 2 extra green flag laps you weren't banking on, plus all the caution laps in between. That's where it's going to be really bad. And you can see the 15 and the 18 almost getting together there. They're all trying to stay so hooked up to the cars around them to save as much fuel as possible. But look, no one's really pushing anybody. The leader isn't getting pushed by anybody. The second row is just driving around them, and they're not even hooked up.
Livingston in the 50, holding on to that race lead. He has made a couple of starts here, and he could upset this OP field on Wednesday night with a win here, but it is going to take a bit of a stretch.
Leaders running mid-52s last time. Let's see what they are this time. Okay, a little bit better from the guys at the front. Little mid-51s. little bit quicker that time around there. They got themselves hooked up, but I'm interested to see what the guys who already pitted, what they run this time around, because those guys have been hooked up and focused on setting lower and lower lap times. I want to see if this lead pack starts to wake up to that, or if they're just going to keep rolling it back and saving more and more fuel.
Yeah, the 50 is pulled out ahead here. The 18 of Harold Rothery. Last time around, like you said, we're in the 51-second bracket, so they are really slowing down. No one's looking to be in too big of a hurry to get out in front. Zach Fritsch in the 12, finding himself behind the 18 of Rothery.
But he's not even.
Yeah, he's not even
touching him, right? Like he's just staying close, not really pushing. Once the half throttle here, the 17 is failing. He said, I've been up here too much. I feel like I'm burning a little too much fuel. I'm too close. He's going to the high side. He's lifting the throttle. Decides he's going to go to the back of this line if it opens up that far. Just trying to find a spot to land. The 18 did clear the leaders there, but those guys got to be the closest on fuel of anyone on the track. Oh, and he gets turned right in front of the field.
Back into the traffic he comes. Yellow flag is out. Rothery in the 18 spinning through the infield. Lima in the 1 straight into his pit stall.
That was wild. Just a bad bump there. It seems like he wasn't ready for the contact, just didn't quite line up the way they wanted it to. Just a tough spot there for those guys who are on the bottom trying to save fuel. It's the wrong place, the wrong time.
Les Levy able to squeeze through that one.
All right, well now, in this spot here, you're probably good on fuel. You got the caution that you needed to. The cars that are still out here are probably in a pretty good spot, and we're going to take another look here at the contact between Livingston and Rothery. But we're going to look at all
up just a little bit too much, but
just give us a lot more context. Can you go all the way back to the drop of the green flag
from the start of the race?
Yeah, is there a time to do that? Oh, okay. You almost went there. Even if we go a little further,
right?
Yep. There it is, obstructed by the view. 3 cars in front of us, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but it's like you said, it looked like maybe just a bump that didn't sit well. And the good news for Lima is by the time he got his car under control, well, there was his pit stall.
Yeah, the bad news for Lima is he already took his fast repair earlier in the race, so we'll see if he's able to get all the damage fix he needs to. And then you can see some of these guys pitting, right? Here comes looks like Livingston down pit road, Korosek down pit road, a few others here dipping in. There's Zach Workman, Eric Laurie, Stanley Jr. There's just the guys who are close on fuel decide, you know what, I'm in a decent enough position here where I'm already locked in, I'm going to take some fuel. I actually really like the call from Eric Laurie here. He wasn't running in a super high position. He was in 15th at the time. He decides, all right, I'm going to pit here and go from 15th maybe to 25th, but now I'm not worried about fuel. Like, that's not even a concern for me. I could definitely make it to the end. I like the call there. And I don't know if he took tires as well. I think I might have if I was going to be going to the back anyway. But he can really press the issue. And if we get 1 or 2 green-white checkers, those guys at the front might really be tightening their belts.
Yeah, everyone down on the apron who did not come down pit road, they're going to try and stretch this. And we're not into our green-white checkered attempts just yet, but keep in mind we will use 2 if we need to.
Yeah, and I like the gamble. I know it didn't work out, but I really like the call from Hunt, Overstreet, etc. to make that pit stop there under green to give themselves a chance. They put them in they were the best cars in a certain position, right? Like, you don't know which group where the leader's going to come from, where the winner of the race is going to come from, but if you are one of 5 cars in that group versus one of 25 cars in that group, you have a higher percentage. So I like that move. Dave Hunt needs a win to sneak into the playoffs. He's got enough starts now, or will next week, I think. So he took that move to give himself a higher winning percentage. He's not here to score top fives. He could have run around the pack and raced with all those guys and pit when they did, or try to make it to the end and salvage a 9th place. But he understands the big picture situation for him there. He needed to go for a win. He went for that strategy. Dan Harrington as well, same call. Those guys are good on fuel. They're much better fuel than the guys who are leading this race, and they're lining up in the top 20. If they can get to the 3rd lane and some things start working out in their favor, maybe they can find themselves in victory lane.
All right, so lights are on the Ford Mustang, but they should be going out this time around. Nate Warren, Zach Fritsch, Cody Neagles, Jeff Crosby Sr. That 15 has been putting himself in the right place here tonight and looking for that first win this season.
Yeah, big a win would be huge for him. That 9 also in the same boat. Win would be huge for either of those guys. I think they're just worried about scoring a whole lot of points. They're scoreboard watching, right? They're watching the 27. They know he got a ton of stage points earlier. They're watching the 071. They know he didn't get any stage points earlier, so they're just trying to keep an eye on those things and just make sure that they're in the best position to enter next week favorably. They don't want to go for a win here and die trying, because that might just make it that they have to make next week a must-win. These guys are all close enough on points that a really solid points night just might be enough to put them in the position to make it.
All right, so the lights are out. We're going to start stacking them up, and we are going to let them loose with 3 laps to go. And this is not in extra laps just yet.
Yeah, I'm going to go do a couple crew chief interviews here, and I'm going to pop back up here in a second.
All right. All right, so there he goes, Peter. Gonna go see what's up with everyone's strategy, figure out how we are going to win this race from the broadcast booth. He's getting us inside information. All right, so as the field has lined up, we go on board with Nate Warren as we are down the backstretch, getting ready to let him loose for what could be the last time. But I don't know. I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna have a couple extra laps, and these guys that have stayed out, who have made the gamble that this thing is going to end on lap 70, are gonna find themselves in a world of hurt. That's my opinion. But yeah, I'm usually wrong. That's okay. I can admit it. All right, pace car. That Ford Mustang heading down pit road. Zach Fritsch in the 12. Takes control of the field with the 9 of Nate Warren to the outside. That long wait from the moment the pace car peels off till you make it through the tri-oval. And now you get the chance to get on the throttle as the green flag is back out. 3 laps to go here in the digital Armchair Motorsports 183, presented by Stanley Jr. Can they get around and get to the white flag? It'll be a long stretch to do so. The 12, the 9, the 15, the 6, they all have pitted. Oh, and trouble! Big time trouble. Kevin Freese goes up and in the air. Multiple
Huge
cars
contact for a lot
involved
of
in
those
this
guys.
one. Do what?
19 and 41 come together too. Huge contact for lots of those guys that we were worried about.
And Kevin
I just
Freese
came back with words. Look at that car. Wow. That 25 is tore up.
He was airborne, and I think he actually ended up out of the park because he got to pit lane very quickly.
Well, I mean, there's a tow truck up there in outer space. It's bring you down real quick there. But yeah, look at that contact there on the bottom. That sends the 04 right up the track in front of the whole field. Right into the 25. Big, big, big miss. And you can see a lot of cars hitting pit road now, even before pit lane is open. Their cars are just so tore up. That's what they need to do. 04 jumping down right now. Probably going to go get a fast repair. 82 getting mixed up in it. 00. A lot of heavy contact there for a lot of cars near the front. It just came up to talk after talking to the crew chiefs there. I talked to the crew chief of the 9, and well, actually, I went to talk to the crew chief of the 9, and he wasn't there. They were already gone. They packed up the team. All the stuff was gone. They said, I guess they assume he's not coming down pit road again. So they packed everything up and left. Good grief. So yeah, nothing, no intention of pitting here for the 9 car. They think he's good to go on fuel, and I bet this caution's giving him some more hope at that.
Ballsy statement saying we're packing up.
Yeah, for sure.
It reminds me of Sebastian Vettel in the Red Bull days at qualifying.
Oh yeah, he's down here on the apron. Let's see what he's doing.
Maybe he lied.
Maybe he is going to pit road. He's going to go down and find nobody there.
Uh-oh, that's not going to be a good thing.
No, let's see.
All right, on the pit road they go. Quite a few of them are hitting
the 9,
pit
the
lane.
12, the 15, the 17. I'm shocked. I would have thought these 4 laps would have worked in their favor, but now they know they're going to lap 72. It's just a little too long. They're a little bit too short. And oh, it looks like my pit crew was there to help them out since I showed up as a driver here in the practice session. So good. I'm glad Nate was able to get some fuel from somebody. So glad we could help out.
All right, top 15 cars did not come down pit road. Of those top 15, the top 6 last pitted on lap 50. David Booth, David Overstreet, Lynn McNeese, all the rest of them lap 57 or later.
That's wild.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the 6 is doing, but he's way out in front of the pace car.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure either here. Did he just exit pit road, or is he just driving that far and then letting it coast?
He just drove right around the pace car.
Yeah, I think he just had a lot of speed, and he doesn't want to slow down and hit the brakes. He wants to let the momentum carry him there, but he's got to be careful not to get a penalty for going too far ahead, which can definitely happen, and it won't get cleared as a result. So he's got to be careful not getting too far ahead.
He's got himself a healthy shot in front of that pace car.
Yeah. And when it came down to fuel mileage, who did I tell you I thought was the best in the field at that?
The 44 of Anthony English.
And where's he running right now?
Right now he is 3rd, but second behind the pace car.
Yeah. I like his chances here, and he gets to save even more fuel here on this restart. He'll be the one pushing, he won't be the one leading. If he's able to get a better push, and he's got his teammate next to him too. The 510 is going to be lining up on the outside. Those 2 guys run together for Vendetta Motorsports on Mondays. So you know they're going to be in good communication with each other. The 44 is in a better points position for sure. He's almost locked in effectively on points if he has a good points finish tonight. The 510 needs a race win. And the 510 was the 44's best friend at iRacing Super Speedway a couple weeks ago. He got the 44 that race win there. I would be interested to see. Yeah, on Monday night. I'd be interested to see if the 44 and the 510 don't try and orchestrate something here to get that 510 a race win to get him into the Wednesday playoffs.
Well, we'll see. And yeah, 62 of Les Levy. He's got a race win. He's locked into the playoffs, but man, anytime that 62 has a chance at winning, you know he kind of steps his game up a little bit and takes a shot at it.
For sure. I gotta say though, and this is nothing against the driver of the 62. That 62 car in particular was at the front and was at the high side a lot more during that long green flag run than any of these other cars. All these other cars that stayed out, we didn't see them at all. They were all at the back of that field, drafting, saving fuel and whatnot. The 62 was just like, I'm running up front. Now he's got a caution or 2 to buy 4 more caution laps. He might be good on fuel according to his calculator right now, but once he's out in the lead, all bets are off. We saw Daniel Holloway run out of fuel, come into the checkered last week, right in front of Gabe Butler on the bottom, entering turn 3 with the lead. Did we get a repeat performance of that tonight?
You know what? I'm going to say it. We're going to go into a second green-white checkered attempt.
Do you think we go into a second green-white checkered attempt because someone runs out of fuel?
Yes.
Well, then they really weren't close. They didn't even make it to the white flag. That was a very poor choice on their part then.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's how I think it's going to go.
All right. New cars. Richard Sanchez is on his second car. He used that one a while ago, though. David Livingston in a new car. He was in that wreck earlier when he got a bad bump. Coruscant still in his new car. Crosby Jr. running 12th in his new car still. everybody else in the top 12 there still has a fast repair in pocket. So yeah, you're right. If things get fancy here, you're not going to see a ton of damaged cars in the restart. It's still going to be a bunch of new cars. However, everyone from 20th on back has used their fast repair. So Andy Brigante, Stanley Jr., Rob Connor, Sean Stevens, Gabe Butler, Dave Hunt, Dan Harrington, Josh Milam, Vicente Guerrero, Eric Laurie, Mark Mann, Zach Workman, and obviously Kevin Freeze, all down a fast repair, all stacking it up here for this restart. Who's going to be the one that comes out on top? Is there going to be another caution? Who's going to survive it? Who's going to have the vehicle at the end to go for this win? Are you worried about points? Are you trying to go for get the trophy here? We've seen some familiar faces at the front. We've seen a lot of new faces cycle in and out. Fuel mileage. This race has got everything for us, KR. Let's see how it ends.
All right, it is time to start figuring out how this is going to end as they make their way into the restart zone. Green flag is out, and away we go. Everyone has to get through this gearbox cleanly and up to speed as fast as possible, because there are a few cars lying way back who don't have to save fuel, and they're charging ahead full steam.
And the 44 jumped up top there. He is lined up now behind his teammate in the 510. They've got the 6 clear of the 62. The 23 is there to push the 62 now. Is the 6 going to jump down, or is he going to stay middle?
Oh, one into the wall.
In the wall. We stay green for now. Third lane is forming. Do the 510 and 44 jump up, or do they stay put? Looks like they're committed to Cody Neagles. Len McNeese leading the top lane here, coming out of 3. He wins. He's in the playoffs. Chasing down towards the white flag. David Booth in the same situation. Is he going to be able to get there? And Richard Kuhn jumps out to lead the top side.
All right, here we go. If they can get to the white flag, and they think they will, this is going to do it. And once again, we are at the final lap. Peter, take it away, man.
I don't know if they're going to make it on fuel. The 510 and the 44 pushing so hard. Do they leave the 6 and jump up top? They're pushing the 6. He's pinching so hard there on the 62. It's looking so tight. The 510 deciding whether or not he's going to move up or not. He's got the 44. The 44's not clear anymore, though, so if he was going to go, it's too late now. It's all in the 510's hands. If he can get the 6 clear and jump down himself or stay up there, it's up to him. He's going to decide who wins this race.
Richard Kuhn in the 47 has some steam in that third lane, but I think he's a little too far back. Anthony English making contact that causes checkup. Around goes the 21, but coming to the line, they are still...
The 62 together. Is he going to run out of fuel? It's so close. It's the 62. Les Levy with his second win of the season.
Les Levy picks up the second win as there is chaos behind them. And crashing before some of these cars can get to the start-finish line. Tough break for the 15 of Jeff Crosby Sr., who had a good run going, but because of this crash, doesn't get to the start-finish line. Les Levy picks up his second win, and he joins Jeff Crosby Jr. as the only repeat winner so far this season.
And Zach Fritsch. I blame our statistician on the chart there, but Zach Fritsch does have 2 Wednesday wins.
Oh, and who's in charge of that?
We talk about the guy who owns the Google Sheet or the guy who enters the data in the Google Sheet?
Both.
I accept 49% responsibility. That's enough responsibility. That's more than you. You had the spreadsheet. You could have done something too.
Well, I didn't. I trusted the spreadsheet.
And the 15 did make it to the start-finish line. Just barely. I don't think I've ever seen anyone make it to the start-finish line so dramatically as that. Made it and then jumped backwards.
Sean Stevens a couple weeks ago, 5 feet from the start-finish line.
Yeah, he didn't make the finish line.
Flew backwards.
Right, yeah.
But Les Levy picks up his second win of the season. And everyone celebrating this win. So let's go ahead and fire up our post-race show. And Peter, you want to take it away as we talk to our race winner?
Yeah, I guess. Let's leave it. It's Peter deBorja up in the booth, man. Congratulations. You got me?
Peter deBorja up in the booth. How are you, Petey boy?
I'm almost off of work, I guess. No, it's great, man. What a race. You guys, this race had everything, right? crazy crashes, pit strategy, fuel mileage, everyone using their fast repairs, Talladega 3 wide, people not pushing, people pushing. It had everything, right?
Oh yeah, we had everything. You know, I still got a fast repair in the bank, boy. I'll sell it to somebody.
Man, how did you do it up there? I know that a lot of your team pitted on lap 53 and was really trying to take advantage of everyone staying out and trying to stretch the fuel, and you just happened to be on the top side and not able to go with them, and it just all kind of fell into your hands there. Talk us through that last stint.
Yeah, no, I think you described it well, Peter. I mean, they were going to go. I couldn't really get down in time, and I got nothing to lose, right? I mean, I got the win earlier, and we were hoping to get either Mr. Booth or Mr. Harrington to win. I think they queue in, but you know, hey, you steal one once in a while, and hey, I learned how to lift from the Masters on Monday.
You did, and you lifted not as much as the guy outside you, apparently, because you were able to drive past them there at the end. At the end there, how close were you on fuel? Be honest.
I think I crossed the line with about 0.1.
Man, we were waiting for the sputter, and I was like, that's going to be super close. Not only were you in that green flag stint near the end, but you weren't like in the back either. Like the 44, the 510, those guys were rolling around the back of that pack. I thought they probably had at least a 1/10 or 2/10 of a gallon on you there. You were on the high side and doing some pushing. I'm like, all right, well, 62's rolling the dice. He's got nothing to lose, like we said. And, you know, I know he's been, you know, trying to run as many laps at the front as he possibly can in this race. And I'm glad it was able to hold out for you there, man. Anyone you want to thank and shout outs you want to give tonight?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Well, first off, guys, let's all give our thoughts to Ken McCullough. I think we all know Kenny. He and Chris used to race here. Ken had a little bit of a medical issue the other day. He's in the hospital, but recovering. I did get a text from him, so let's keep our thoughts and prayers for him. But obviously, want to thank you and KR up at the booth, all the guys running the league, all my checkered flag teammates, and then all the loosey goosey teammates on Wednesday, and of course the Ricky Bobby Foundation for People Challenged to Go Fast.
Very nice, man. And you didn't even need this win, but with the start tonight, you got a playoff ticket punched already for you. Are you going to be in the booth next week instead of me?
You know, if we could figure out how I could do that from the East Coast, maybe we'll do something, but it's always tricky. We'll talk during the week.
All right, sounds good, man. Great job.
Thanks, guys. Be good.
All right. That is Les Levy, driver of the 62-year race winner. Peter, nice job. It's almost like you know what you're doing out here.
We'll do what now?
Right? Exactly.
Right, yeah, right.
All right, now let's move on to our second place finisher, and that is the driver of the 6. That is none other than Mr. Cody. Cody, how you doing, bud?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah?
It wasn't a bad race.
Solid run for the 6 here, and man, a lot of questions up in the air on the fuel and everything.
Yeah, I was barely able to make it. If there had been another caution, I wouldn't have been able to, but saved just enough to be able to give it a go under the first green white checker, and it looked like I had a really good look at that race, and I had the final option entering 3. What lane did I want? I was clear on both, and I figured the second lane is where I wanted to be, but Kuhn went up to the third, which stalled out the middle lane a little bit, and ultimately I think that might have costed me the win, but still a good performance and glad to get back on the podium again.
Well, Cody, you got this 6 machine up in second place. You got that one win already. You got one more start to go to lock yourself in. You cutting it kind of close. You got one race left to do it.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there. You know, I've been having other obligations, but still intended on making the playoffs. So I'll be here next week, and hopefully I'll make a good run into the playoffs on Wednesdays.
Okay, don't you want to drive to Missouri and see if Cody wants to go like bowling or something next Wednesday?
Actually, I was getting ready to say we need to meet up and hang out this Friday night at your house, and I do have a pair of wire cutters.
Oh boy! Oh wow, that's aggressive, man. Somebody
cut the internet or anything. That would be too easy to fix. It would have to be like the force feedback.
Oh no!
No. It's going to be the main lines.
Try it
in the block.
God. Peter up in the booth again, man. How you doing, buddy?
You know, same old. It's a great paycheck. It's a lot. It's not any less than it was last week. But no, you guys put a great show on tonight. As you said before, the fuel was really close there. I was kind of thinking when you were deciding what lane to go with at the end, and you were deciding whether you were clear to go down or if you wanted to stay in middle, were you thinking at all about the cars in your lane's playoff situation? Because it's, as we said, cutting down here to the end of the regular season. between the 5-10 needing a win and the 44 near the playoff bubble and the 47 not locked in yet. Did that weigh in at your mind? Like I would have been, I think, just glued to the bottom. I was like, 62's got to win already. What's the likelihood he's going to leave me? But then, the 62's been pretty loud since Monday night about how that race ended. So I'm not quite sure if I wanted to be there either.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know kind of the nature of Monday nights, but I really wasn't paying attention to the playoff picture. And honestly, if I would have known that Rick needed a win, I would have dropped down and opened up that lane for him, knowing that Les was locked. But I didn't see the standings before it all shook out. And I know there's no bad blood or anything with Les. It's totally cool, and everyone's got their opinion on it. But anyway, I figured the second lane's where I wanted to be, so I just stayed there. And again, I think I would have got the win, but when Kuhn went up to the third, without that third in the middle lane, it kind of just stalled it out. Had I known that was how it was going to shake out, I definitely would have took the bottom and made Seabass the third, which would have gave Les the option to take the top potentially if he would have pushed clear of me, because I think the second lane at that point would have kind of stalled out. So just kind of a 50-50 shot either way. I think no matter which lane you take, it's going to be really, really close. Decided to stay with Rick there, and because he was going to get good points regardless, but wasn't able to get it. But I'm really happy for Les.
Yeah, good job, man. I know I would have stayed on the bottom, but that's because I'm not any good, and I can't pinch that well or judge it very well. So I would have just stayed glued to the yellow. But you did an excellent job up there. Found yourself near the front there at the end of one of these races yet again. Make sure you show up next week, and hopefully we can see more of this in the playoffs, man. Good job.
Absolutely. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, KR.
There you have it, Cody, in our second place for tonight, second step of the podium. Peter, one last interview to go, and that is our third place finisher, Sebastian Marin.
Hey, Sebastian, it's Peter in the booth. Do you copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
All right, cool. Thank you for joining us in the booth. Congratulations on third place. Have a good one. No, I'm just kidding. Talk us through that last stint there. How close were you on fuel, man?
Me personally, I was pretty good. I think I was, if that yellow didn't come out, I would have ran out maybe turn 2 after the checkered. So I felt pretty good considering if it went green. So it was a shame that yellow came out because I felt like it gave a lot of other drivers that maybe couldn't make it, have a shot of making it. But, it was still a good race. Yellow came out. A lot of people pit, which caught me by surprise because I thought that with the yellow, they would have been good. So just stayed out, got track position
as well. Don't you worry. We were all losing our mind up here. We were thinking that, oh, yeah, great. The 9, the 19, they're definitely good. The 12's good now. And then they all hit pit road. So another top 5 falling in your lap here. Not without a lot of hard work on your part, though. Great pushing there at the end of stage 1, too. Did you find the bottom lane to be the stronger one tonight? We've heard a lot of drivers talk about that. It obviously ended up winning stage 1. It obviously ended up winning the race as well. Is that the place to be, or is that just kind of coincidence?
I think it all depended on maybe a bit of the weather that we had tonight, because it was really, really hot. So, the third lane it was hard to get it to work. Like unless you timed the run well and you got a big run, or the middle had a bobble, that was when the third lane came in. But besides that, it was really hard to maintain the temps. So yeah, the bottom was definitely a bit stronger than other nights, but I don't think it was dominant, but it was definitely a bit stronger than previous nights.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, you got Mondays figured out. Wednesdays you keep finishing well, but I don't know if you've got enough starts to be in the playoffs, right? Is that what you've been in and out on Wednesday?
I definitely do not.
Well, we appreciate you coming by regardless and mixing it up with us peons here on Wednesday who, But any shout outs and things you want to give out? And let us know about the other racing you're doing, where people can find you on some of those other nights of the week when you're not racing an OP.
Yeah, the other nights I'm racing is mainly Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, I'm racing FTF. They usually stream that on YouTube at FTF. So I think I'll be racing there this week. And another league that I race is Sundays. It's called Stampede Racing League. It's relatively new, so not a lot of people know about it. And it's not yet broadcast, but hopefully that happens here soon. And SSK on Tuesdays and Fridays whenever I can. So
yeah, good to see you running the FTF, man. You're one of the young and up and coming superstars here that we see in a lot of the super speedway racing deals. Obviously you got a lot of accolades already. It's also to see that you're taking steps forward there towards big time iRacing accomplishments, and we're look forward to you eventually going to Road to Pro, man, because there's not too many guys out there driving super speedways every night of the week that can say they got a 7 KI rating. So, we're rooting for you when you take those steps.
I appreciate that. Maybe in like a year or two, that'll probably definitely be a possibility. But as of right now, I still want to take it easy. So Road to Pro probably definitely in the future.
All right, good. That'll let you take it easier on us too when you start doing all the practicing for that. So we'd appreciate you as well. Just kidding, man. Good job tonight. Congrats on the 3rd place, and we'll talk to you later, dude.
Thank you. Good night, guys.
All right, there you have it. Our 3rd and final step of the podium, Sebastian Marin. Nothing left now but to go through our race results, and let's take a quick look at that. Les Levy picks up his 2nd win. Cody Nagels finishing 2nd. Sebastian Marin rounding out our podium, but Richard Sanchez, solid finish for him. Up into 4th, David Overstreet rounds out our top 5. Richard Kuhn, who needed a good run, got it and finished in 6th. Lynn McNeese 7th, 8th place at 44 of Anthony English. David Booth in 9th, 10th goes to the 33 of Jeff Crosby Jr. David Livingston 11th, 12th Ty Dallman, Steve Karosik 13th, 14th Zach Fritsch, Adam Kilday finishing in 15th spot. 16th going to Gabe Butler. Andy Brigante 17th, 18th Mark Mann, 19th place Dave Hunt, Eric Laurie in 20th, Vicente Guerrero 21st, Sean Stevens 22nd, Jeff Crosby Sr. 23rd with the fastest exit out of the car once he crossed the start-finish line. Daniel Holloway in 24th, 25th goes to Dan Harrington, Josh Milam 26th, Nate Warren 27th, 28th Rob Connors, 29th goes to Stanley Jr. Last car on the lead lap, Jimmy Reynolds. First car 1 lap down in 30th. 31st, Harold Rothery. Kevin Freese 32nd. Zach Workman ends up in 33rd. 34th goes to Zachary Lima. Travis Elliott with that early exit in 35th. Andrew Schroeder, Joey Delavecchia, and Peter deBorja finishing 38.
Nice top 38
Ouch.
finish for me.
Ouch,
That's pretty good.
Peter.
I got a top 38, and I was talking to you the whole time.
What happened? I mean, I thought you were better than that.
No, I'm pretty happy with the top 38 finish, considering I didn't even get on the grid. So, big thing that stands out to me here, KR, the guys we were talking about, needing points, worried about the points bubble. Where did they finish? Eric Laurie 20th, Sean Stevens 22nd, Jeffrey Crosby Sr. 23rd, Nate Warren 27th. Nothing changed. They're all 7 points within each other here. They're hammering out the stage points right now to see where they're standing, but I bet that bubble didn't move much at all. If anything, it strayed further away from the pack. The 44 might be locked in on points now. The 47 might be locked in on points now, but it's a bloodbath right there at the bubble.
I was going to say the one that got that really is probably going to move the most. That's the 9 and Nate Warren.
Yeah, and he finished 27th, but he also was the best of those coming in. So we'll see where he ends up. I know Sean Stevens ended up with the best stage points of those guys. Eric and Jeff, though, they're still going to be neck and neck. I know that they're just going to be kicking themselves. They're going to think to themselves, if I just got a top 15 tonight, I'd be 10 points better than where I finished or something. So they're going to be, banging their head against the wall for the next 24 hours. It's all going to come down to next week. Who's going to make it in? Who's not? Are we going to get a new winner that's going to steal one of the playoff spots? We already know that one of those guys isn't making it. Hopefully it's not 2, but they've been showing up every week, and man, it just seems that they can't find luck on these white flag laps.
Well, sometimes if it weren't for bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck at all.
For sure. It seems to be the story for a lot of those guys' seasons. That's what I'm going to be looking for next week when you're stuck with me in the booth yet again. So
all right, man. Well, before we have to deal with you all over again next week, why don't you sign us off for tonight?
Yeah, man. Just want to reiterate what we said during the race there, and as well as what Les said. Ken McCullough and family, man, and Chris, obviously, and David have all had some history here in OP, and we're just thinking about you guys during Ken's tough time here. Let us know if there's things that we can do to help. I know there's a lot of guys who've personally known Ken for many, many years that would love to take part in whatever. And, if we can put a good race on for you guys or just send some well wishes, just give us an update there. And we'll be keeping you guys in our thoughts and prayers. I know that's a real big deal for OP. We always take care of our guys, even if they haven't been here for a while. It's it's something that we always look to do and make sure that those guys know that they're OP forever in that sense. But yeah, that's way bigger than what we're doing here in iRacing. We'll worry about points and all that stuff. That can shake itself out next week. But we're an OP family first, and looking out for each other, and it's just a mutual respect we've always had here. And Ken brought that all the time when he was racing here regularly, and always set a great example for that. And a former OP champion there, we're thinking about you, bud.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.